Oh, Johnny, you got the 2026 Preds wall calendar. And oh my God, why didn't you tell me? You got the Trisha Yearwood and Keith Urban themed Preds bobblehead though. You're running out of space on your shelf. Whatever are you going to do if you get more bobblehead for your birthday or next Christmas?
Well, the more I might get, nothing to assume here, in the future, I may have to start reshuffling these shelves and put stuff on the top shelf, kind of like we want the Preds to shoot higher more often, right?
Before you fly off the handle, Johnny, take a deep breath. Does someone somewhere have a voodoo doll collection of this roster? As always, not helping. I guess the season's over.
So, just gonna sit in silence?
That was the plan.
Why does it say placed on waivers?
Nothing said. I have to talk about dumb moves and a Preds front office.
What the hell did I just watch?
Do I really need to be here for this at this point?
I'm not having flashbacks to Game 4 against the Canucks last spring.
At this point, Johnny, you can just splice together old intros.
Cutie intro.
Let Denson take you home.
Preds lose 3-2 to the St. Louis Blues Saturday night inside the Enterprise Center in St. Louis, Missouri. 2 assists by Nick Hague was the lone bright spot for the Preds as they snapped their 3-game winning streak. But remember, Preds fans, you're not going to see a yelly, screamy Johnny tonight because they did win the week again. It's been 4 days since the Preds last played a regular season game. Everybody in the league, much less the Preds, had Christmas Eve off, Christmas Day off, and technically Boxing Day, which is really only a holiday in Canada, off. And as you may have noticed through Preds social media showing pictures from the airport this morning, not the Preds, much less anybody else in the league, was allowed to leave for their destination city if they were the road team today until this morning. I can't remember the exact distance, but everybody had relatively the same distance to go. You weren't going to have a long flight to like an Eastern Conference if you're a Western Conference team or vice versa. Preds were showing some Christmas rust early in this one as 30 seconds in, Roman Josi with a bad defensive breakdown allows St. Louis to get a chance early to open the scoring, but Juuse Saros bails out his team. By the time the Preds had the first power play of the game, though, they weren't able to score, but they seemed to have shaken off that early rust. Just over 7 minutes into the first period, though, it's the Blues' chance on the power play as Fedor Svechkov hooks Colton Parayko, and about 90 seconds into that man advantage, you have Cam Fowler, who is at the point he takes a shot that's tipped in by Braden Shea past Juuse Saros, and the Blues have a 1-0 lead. Almost 3 minutes later, Preds would get that one back, though. Broken play in the Blues zone. Loose puck comes over to Nick Hague, who fires it on net, and somehow with double coverage on him, Tyson Jost is able to tip it home past Joel Hofer, who's in the Blues net for this game, and the Preds have tied it at 1. Fast forward to under 3 minutes left to go in the first. Turnover in the Blues zone. Cole Smith and Reed Schaefer each are digging in the Blues paint for the loose puck, but Joel Hofer covers it up. A minute later, deflected play leads to a 2-on-1 going the other way into the Preds zone. For the Blues, Pavel Buchnevich has Jake Neighbors with him. Roman Josi is back on defense. I can't blame him for this. He plays it pretty well. It's just a lucky bounce for the Blues as Buchnevich tries to pass it over to Jake Neighbors. It deflects off of Roman Josi, comes back to Buchnevich, who then puts it by Juuse Saros, who is trying to play for the pass, but Buchnevich is able to score, giving the Blues back the lead, now up 2-1. Last minute of play in the first, Blues with one more chance. Saros keeps it a 1-goal game. Final seconds tick down. Horn sounds, first period is done. Blues have the lead, but Each team has 8 shots apiece. Preds with a good push through the first 4 minutes of the second period. 4 shot attempts, but it can't get the tying goal past Hofer, but a good start nonetheless to the middle frame for the Preds. Just over 8 minutes into the second period, Oscar Sundqvist sets up Hugh Suter for a great chance to extend the Blues lead, but Saros denies him. This period is passing by us rather quickly, something I'm sure the Blues players and their fans are quite content with, but the Preds fan base was like, we'd like to tie this game up here soon, guys. Just over 7 minutes left to go in that middle frame. Blues trying to clear. Matthew Wood with a steal. Great chance, but Joel Hofer once again makes a save. About 5 minutes left to go in the second. Logan Mayhew goes off for hooking Cole Smith. Preds once again. The chances are there, just the execution needs a little bit more work, and the Preds can't score with that man advantage. Because on the last seconds of that man advantage, you had Matthew Wood from the point. A great tip by Michael Bunting, but Joel Hofer slams the door again. Soon after that, Joel Hofer plays it behind his net and gives it right away to Ryan O'Reilly, who easily sets up the layup to Phil Forsberg, who appears to tie it, and we're tied at 2, but wait. Hold up, the Blues want a challenge, and sure enough, even though I'm stuck watching this feed once again on an opposing team's feed, the Blues won. The replay clearly shows that it was offside on the initial zone entry. So Toronto, a little longer than you would think, but nonetheless makes the right call and keeps this game 2-1 Blues. Something I will just speak on briefly that I thought about in the moment that hasn't really come up before for zone entries and offside challenges. I would be open to, if the NHL wanted to change the rule on a complete change of possession. Like, say your goalie makes a save but gives up a rebound and then you score and you still want to challenge for offside. That's fine. But I don't think a team should necessarily have to clear the zone, making sure, oh, what if we were offside, guys, and the officials missed it, just because they have possession of the puck. I would be okay with changing that for a certain, if there was intent that possession had clearly changed the other team, you shouldn't have to go back to touch up for onside. That goal, even if it happened against the Preds from after this season, I would be okay with that goal counting. Preds with one last push in that second period, out shooting the Blues 10-5 in the middle frame, 18-13 overall, but still trailed 2-1 after 40 minutes. About 2 minutes into the third period, there's a stoppage in play as a puck comes and smacks Cole Smith in the face good as he has to go off for stitches. Hopefully he's none worse for wear. About 5 minutes into the third period though, Preds with a chance at one end. Blues go in transition the other way. Robert Thomas sets up Pavel Buchnevich, who gets one chance, is stopped, gets the rebound, and is able to beat Saros. Blues extend their lead to 3-1. If you go back and watch the replay of this goal, I'm not going to get too mad. I just want him to be better. I kind of felt like watching it, like, Nick Hague, what are you doing? Like, I know, what, are you trying to let UCC the puck? Yeah, you did, but he needs some help on defense there in case there's a rebound. And I kind of feel like Captain Picard from Star Trek. Nick, you're allowed to engage. Halfway through the third period, Blues still up by a score of 3-1. Play in the corner, gets thrown out front, in front of Saros. Topachenko is able to get a clean chance, but Saros denies him. Under 9.5 left to go in regulation. Ill-advised penalty by Ryan O'Reilly. I'm sure post-game, if you asked him, he would be profusely apologizing for it. But after the fact, I'm sure Ryan O'Reilly might be like, that's just how I planned it, because it's the Preds who did better on the penalty kill with more chances than the Blues did on the power play. And coming down the left wing board, Erik Haula has the puck, and he no-look backhands it to Fedor Svechkov, who is able to skate in like the Preds are still even strength, beat Hofer, only Svechkov's second goal of the season, and the Preds are somehow back in this one, down by 1 goal, down 3-2. Under 5 minutes left to go in regulation. If the Preds can just get one more, breathe new life into them as they have somewhat turned things around this last month. Bruno pulls sauce with just over 2 minutes left in regulation. Preds penetrate and get good zone time in the Blues zone, trying to circle, good passes. Some shooting lanes are blocked, but the Preds are coming ever so close. Preds call their timeout with 80 seconds left to go in regulation. 1 or 2 more offensive faceoffs in the Blues zone ends up with nothing. Finally, as the clock ticks down to its conclusion, under 10 seconds, under 5 seconds, Stamkos behind the net to Hofer's right, trying to set up Forsberg. He's tied up with his stick. Puck comes to Luke Evangelista, who gets a shot off that. Hofer stops just as the horn sounds. There's some debate over if there's still a second or so, but the officials say the game is over. Preds came so close, but it was the Blues' night in this one as they win, snapping the Preds' 3-game win streak by winning this one 3-2. I was quite happy, Preds Nation, that despite the first period trailing 2-1 and that in the second and third period combined, the teams scored once each, but the Preds were a much better team in terms of chances and shots as they outshot the Blues 24-12 over the remainder 2 periods. Yes. Preds snapped their 3-game winning streak. But the positive thing here, as I've been mentioning in previous fan reaction videos leading up to this game, that since American Thanksgiving, look, the Preds won another week, because a week counts as Sunday to Saturday. They won 2 games this week and lost a night. Yes, they're still at a pretty good pace here. Now, can they keep this up, especially next week, when in the midst of this 6-game road trip that they're on, they have 4 games sandwiched over a span of 7 days next week? And I just want to point out yet again, Erik Haula is doing his work as the supporting cast. Barry Trotz, I don't need to remind you, this man is on an expiring contract after this season. If your phone rings and you get a good offer from an actual contender, take it and stop the Preds prospect covers with more draft pick or maybe a prospect of somebody else's team. This team is not back, but they're not quite dead yet either for a wholesale fire sale before the trade deadline. Barry, just don't make sure to add any assets in terms of players on the roster, please. Let the Preds roster right now show us what they're made of with the remainder of this road trip and see what you have to work with as we start 2026. I will talk to you Monday night after the Utah game. So that's it for this video. Thank you very much for watching. As always, click like if you like this video. Click subscribe if you really liked it. I'm 25 subscribers away from 500. You can find my social media and interact with me during every Preds game by clicking on a channel name. Tell all your friends about Redemption and that Yelly Screamy Johnny is much more calm tonight with a much better Preds effort in this game. Everyone deserves a chance at redemption. Don't you dare miss a chance to witness redemption.